seriously, guys. Like, don't breathe. Like, we're trying to do a professional podcast.
Oh my God.
You guys are failing. You're just utterly failing. This is Lunduke and Friends, where we utterly fail every Saturday night. Me and three of the nerdiest fellas on the planet. I'd like to address something. Lunduke and Friends could be lady friends too. However, it has only been guy friends. Why has it been guy friends? Perhaps I am just so macho that only men can handle it. I just randomly said something that insulted people. Welcome. It's June 13th. It's like 10 o'clock at night. We're hanging out here, trying not to think about the outside world. So I was talking to my wife the other night. I was talking to my wife, and she says, I've never been willing to try this before. She says she can wax my chest hair off without me feeling any pain at all. We were talking about like swimmers. People swimming can, will like often wax themselves so they don't have like that drag in the pool. And I said, I'm not gonna try that. Like, there's just no chance I'm gonna try that. She's like, I can totally do it without you feeling a thing. Here's the thing. I'm worried she might not be able to pull it off.
Oh, okay. That was better. That was better. That was a little better.
All right. I take it.
A little better. I was like,
I'm trying.
Here it comes.
I'm trying. What can you do? All right. So here's how this works. Apparently, I tell dad jokes. I don't know. I kind of feel like I can do it to torture people and yet fill their hearts with love at the same time. Like, it's wonderful. Like, I see that people, when they hear the dad joke, they're in a little bit of pain, but like, they're glad for that pain. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it hurts so good. It's
I have no idea what you mean.
You love it.
You just have to hurt. Yeah, just all hurt.
You know what I mean? Like, and you get that back rub where you got like the knot in the middle of your back, but you're getting a back rub and it feels so good, but it kind of hurts, That's what a dad joke's kind of like. Okay. Anyway, we're hanging out, talking to Chase Nunes, Matt Hartley, Christopher Titus. Just hanging out, talking about stuff, nerdy stuff, anything the chat room wants to talk about. And this one jumped right out at me, and why it jumped out at me is because it's the first one my eyeball landed upon. This from Idiocracy. Idiocracy asks, what was the best Elite game? That's a fair question. Of the Elite series, from every game that's borne the Elite name, which one was the best? For those of you who don't know, Elite is one of the greatest video games ever made. It's a big space trading, flight sim-ish kind of a thing. It's Trade Wars.
Let me put that in Alta Vista real quick here.
Do you know Elite? Chase, are you Elite familiar?
No, I've never heard of it either.
So all I know is Elite Dangerous, and that's the latest incarnation.
I don't know anything about
which I hear is just amazing. Like, you can spend like days traveling places.
I found it. I found Elite video game. 1984.
That sounds about right. Elite was great. What version of Elite is the best? The original for.
Okay.
I don't know what platform. One of the originals. Because it was special. It was new. It was so expansive in scope. It was amazing. Right. It was amazing. Okay. JP Dash wants to know, why did leet-Speak go away? People were talking. Everyone had the numbers and whatnot and signs and their names and everything, and now it's gone. People stopped doing it. Why'd that go away? I mean, everyone knew it was annoying from the start, so it's not like it suddenly started annoying us, so we stopped doing it. It was everyone found it annoying.
Yeah, why does any trend go away? Yeah, I mean, it's just.
Are we talking about? Are we talking about leet-Speak as far as names go, or are we talking? Okay, or in general?
Just in general. You know, people do it less often now, right? I mean, people just nowadays, instead of leet-Speak, they just randomly misspell things.
Oh,
they just
remove all the vowels.
Yeah,
just remove every vowel there is.
Seriously. Yeah. Like things like, just like, oh God,
so
that's
hard.
not a word. That's
so hard to spell it out.
Put the
extra letters.
Like, I get it for getting like a domain name. Like, I'm cool with it for a domain name or like a product name. That's fine. But like for just daily speak, ugh, people, you, why? Oh, you. That's how you is spelled. It's not just one letter. It's so annoying. I know it saves space and time, but that's a path that ends in our grandchildren being just so stupid. So we don't want to go that route. We don't want to go to full idiocracy on them. And I feel like misspelling words on Twitter, that's real steps real close to idiocracy. That's going way too close.
The chair in that scene where he's watching television that had everything you could ever care about built into it.
The chair with the toilet and the drink holder and
you may or may not mix them up, whatever. It's awesome. I want to. I'm just saying that is fantastic. I mean, who doesn't want that? All the not getting up I'm doing. I mean, that's great. I'm so on board with that.
God. Oh,
just don't mix up your nozzles. You're fine.
That's what I'm saying, though. If people want that future, what they should do is do more intentional misspelling on Twitter. If they don't want that future, don't do the spelling.
Okay.
Really, that's going to dictate how society goes. Chase, thoughts?
Yeah, we're doomed. We're completely and utterly doomed.
Yes.
I mean, once we get the toilet seat chair with the built-in toilet, I'm sorry, the toilet seat that has comfiness and remote control and built-in speakers.
Yes.
We're done. I think we're done. We're like the movie. What was it? Wall-E, where everybody was on the cruise ship and everybody was so gelatinous and letting the ship take them around in these chairs, and they had everything appealed to them and everything. You know, this whole society and that's what we're doomed to become in the next 100, 200 years, probably.
That's how I've been living in quarantine this whole time. I mean, I just kind of let things happen. Things get delivered. Stuff ends up in my mouth. I don't know, whatever. I'm being fed. It's fine. You know, I'm just saying, it's kind of great.
100% wrong.
You know, I mean,
someone should totally keep that. I mean, just
Oh yeah, ouch. Yeah, that's gonna end up being a meme. But anyway, we
can only hope.
Oh my. Yeah. So I mean, I embrace my lazy overlords. I'm just saying. So.
Oh, Titus, do you want the chair?
I think
our friends here are just resigned to it. They're just like, this is coming.
I think people are going to get wiser and things will get better because we'll realize, hey, this stuff is convenient. Yet, I think it's time to. Oh my Lord, that chair is amazing.
Is that a chair?
That chair looks incredibly comfortable.
It's not just any chair.
Look at the toilet seat in the middle.
That's the chair for Idiocracy.
My God.
That is the one, isn't it?
That is just brilliant.
If I remove my pants and just resign myself to a blanket, problem solved. I'm just saying.
You got the speakers, you got the super 60-ounce cup there of your favorite.
I'll get a nurse to bathe me once a week. I'm fine. It's what
after seeing this chair, I'm thinking I'm going to revive mine. Never mind that right there. It's the future.
That's
I think
it.
We should just resign ourselves to that right there. That is amazing.
Right? I mean, it's got lumbar support. You have a proper headrest, and I'm willing to bet you probably get pretty decent sound out of the speakers.
Oh, absolutely.
It'd be nice.
Yeah, it's like some 6.5 car stereo speakers right there. You can
bet
rig
it's
that
got
up.
a rumble function. In it. I bet it has a rumble.
Right. Well, it does when you have to go to the bathroom. I mean, the rumble function takes care of itself. So, whether or not it goes beyond that is that's up to the user. So I'm just going to put that out there.
As a reminder to myself,
I was good.
Let's just say this is a reminder to myself. This is a family show. Sort of. It's a PG at worst.
I walk the fine line. That's fine.
We walk a fine line. We will not steer into workplace. You're getting instantly fired territory. You will get a talking to and a couple of sideways glances, but you will not get fired over this show. So that's got it going for it right there.
Yes.
If we had any good questions come through the chat room, I was supposed to pay attention to this.
Now that we've gone down that
Chase,
oh my!
have you looked at the chat room? Has anyone said this is a question? Here, you got it.
Nothing really that I can find. There still seem to be mesmerized about the chair. Does the chair come with Bluetooth?
Actually,
does it have a hotbox folder?
Let's change away from the chair. The chair's a weird area. Honestly, it makes me feel bad about myself thinking that I really like the look of that chair, and I don't.
All right, we got one, Brian. We got one here. If you lived in a Sim City and one of your friends here was mayor, who would you rather?
Oh, like if it was a Sim City controlled by one of the guys here. Let's open it up. Let's open this up to everybody. Everybody, who would you want? Yourself can be the person you choose, which may be the same bet for each of us. Who do you choose as your mayor? And let's go SimCity 2000. That's a classic one. Let's go SimCity 2000. In SimCity 2000, so you've got a couple of monsters you can throw at the city, of course. You can have nuclear meltdowns and such. What do you do? Who's the right one?
Which edition of SimCity 2000?
Let's just go straight up original edition for, let's go DOS.
Ooh, okay. All right. Okay. See, that's a tough one because when I played on the Apple 2GS, I believe, if I remember right. If my mind escapes me right.
Did you have an Apple 2GS?
I did. Yeah.
So here's the thing. I want to fight you now. Because in the previous episode of Lunduke and Friends, you said you did not have machines that you had emotional connections with.
No, it wasn't emotional.
You wouldn't cry for the death of any of your machines, and yet you had an Apple 2GS.
Yeah,
they are beautiful. How can you not want to cuddle with them? How can you not feel protective over them?
I mean, there's been times and moments here that I've been like, it'd be nice to have one of those again, but then I go like, why? I mean, it's like, it's okay. I was like, it's okay.
Well, so I have a classic computer, and I actively play Parsec on it. It has controllers.
Parsec's rad.
Yeah, I mean, it is fun to be like, wow, I'm gonna literally hodgepodge this to an HDTV when it was designed for we're talking like pre-coax connections here. We're talking like Atari, and basically it's a modulation, little clicky switch and whatnot, and it's a trip. It's fun. That being said, I probably don't spend more than 30 minutes on it at a time. So because I have extreme ADD. So
does it bring you love and joy?
Yeah, it does for about 30 minutes. Yeah,
that's all that matters.
And then I'm bored, and then I'm doing something else, and then I'm watching Get Smart.
It's all good. It's all good. You can use it a little. You can use it a lot. That machine brings you joy. Then it's a good machine. It can hang out.
That's true. And I do take care of it.
See, that right there is the maternal Hartley I know. Beautiful, man. You love that machine.
My stuff, I just plug random USB stuff into it. It's fine. Whatever.
Zatara says, I want a world where screensavers are a thing again. It's a lost form of art. And we're not talking about the TV show screensavers. We're not talking about tech TV screensavers.
We're
not talking about Leo. We're talking about actual, you screen blacks to a picture or whatever in order to protect your CRT from burning.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris has got the old Matrix one, looks like. I love
that's cool.
I love using a wallpaper engine. Now I'm obviously a PC guy.
Sure.
But wallpaper engine off of Steam is great. It's not exactly a screensaver per se, but I think you can set it as such. But it gives you animated backgrounds, kind of like one thing that's I liked about Windows Vista.
Right.
That's a great app. I love that app.
Huh, that's cool.
I don't know. But yeah, no.
Okay.
Flying toasters.
Yeah, I was gonna say favorite screensaver. After it's dark. Flying toasters, right? That's the best one there ever was flying toasters.
Oh no, I like the pipes. The original pipes one was pretty cool.
What about the lines?
The lines are cool. Lines are cool.
Yeah, the lines was cool. I liked the original Starfield in Windows 3.0 and 3.1.
Oh,
where it was
yeah.
just the white dots that slowly came
Classic.
at you.
Yeah.
You could adjust how many dots there were and how fast they were going. And man, you could set it to be a whole bunch really fast and turn all the lights out and sit right in front of your CRT with the space field flying at you.
Sure, why not? That is fun. But I don't think anything could possibly
put on Flight of the Valkyries or whatever.
That would be awesome, actually. That I would be on board with. But no, I
was a cool 13-year-old is what I'm trying to say. Is I was a very cool 13-year-old. I was fun to hang out with.
No, so my favorite was actually a little more recent. It was put together by Bill from PC Linux OS. You are familiar with the Mate desktop, and there's a screensaver called Floating Mate's. Well, he built one called Floating Mats. And it's literally it's just my head float. I'll have to find the video and send it to you guys. It's actually pretty funny. I've been trying to get him to integrate that into the mainstream. And I think I'm about that close because I got him into that whole deep fake thing. And
the more Floating Mats heads around.
It was pretty great because they're all like, it literally looks like, oh, it's bad. It's pretty great. So it's pretty awesome. I liked it, but that's just me.
When I was it reminds me of a story. When I was a young guy, I was dating this girl for a while. I should back up. For about a year or two, I'd been dabbling in beekeeping. So like, it started as like a 4-H thing, but then it wasn't a 4-H thing. But I just kept doing it. So I had these bees, right? So I was a beekeeper, a very poor beekeeper, but a beekeeper nonetheless. So there's this girl though that I've been dating. She did not like the bees. She was allergic to bees, but I don't know. She never got stung by them. She said she was allergic. I don't know if she really was. Anyway, she was like, it is me or them. You got to get rid of them. And if you can't get rid of them, you lose me. And I'm like, oh man.
Okay.
At first, the thing is I didn't think she was serious, but then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer.
Oh man! And instantly my brain goes to the song. I instantly went to the song. So
you're welcome for that one.
Wow. That was actually better than I anticipated.
All right, I have a question.
Okay.
I can't take another dad joke. Let's talk about something here.
That's the constant threat, man. If you guys don't get in there with interesting tech topics, the dad jokes come out. They hit hard tonight.
Here's a good one. All right. I think everyone will like this one. All right. I'm not much for, I don't understand, and you're all going to be mad at me when I say this.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
But having the consoles and stuff, I'm like, meh, just give me an emulator. I really love emulating everything, and I'm talking all the way up to like PS2. I mean, we're talking almost every classic game I can think of. I just emulate because I look at like the console stuff and everything. People are selling this stuff, and I'm like, most of that is just rehash stuff. It's not even true to the original form. It's just redone.
True.
Yeah,
and it's not even
unless you have original console stuff. I mean, my nephew does.
You can, but it's almost impossible to find at a reasonable price these days.
It is hard, but you can.
So when it comes to emulated games versus the tried and true experience, what are your guys' thoughts on this?
Strong. They're strong about it.
They're strong.
I want to hear from Matt and Chase first.
Go ahead, Chase.
Because otherwise,
toss it to the gamer guy. Let's bring Chase into it. Let's talk about it.
Right.
I'm all about gaming, no matter what you like. If you are able to play on original hardware, and there are a lot of people out there that are lucky to do that. I have a few pieces to do that on. I think that's great. I love the ease of use of emulation as well. A lot of games look great, if not greater, in emulation. A great example of that is a lot of the Nintendo 64 games in emulators are able to add textures and shaders and just really make it pop and make it phenomenal. And so I say, if you are into the collectible arena and you like collecting those mini consoles that emulate those Nintendo or Super Nintendo or PlayStation games, I think they're great. I took my PlayStation emulator. Sony had one. They released it at first for I think $99, and then eventually they dropped it to like 30 or 40.
Sure.
Which is very hackable.
Yeah.
And I hacked it, and so I could load off of a USB and load all of my PS2 emulated stuff on there. And it's on USB, so I could take it to a friend's house or whatever. So
it's cool.
Yeah, I say go for it if you can do it. And if you can't, then you have the consoles or original hardware if you can do that too. I think it's all good. The second thing about original hardware is obviously to get it into something modern today is a little bit more difficult because it is,
no, especially when there's modulators and whatnot involved.
Yeah, exactly. And it's never quite the same. I mean, as soon as you move something that's meant to be on a CRT of that CRT of that resolution and that aspect ratio, up to even a 720p set, in the LCD, it just looks wrong. Like it's just not right at all. And then you end up putting filters on top of it, and those filters are always a little bit off. Even the great ones aren't quite right. Like they help and like they make you feel good because it's like, okay, that's cool, but like really, I mean, it still is not quite right, and it lacks the buzz. It's not there. There's no buzz. There's no static. You don't feel it anymore. It's a totally different experience. It's wildly different. So it's
that's why I keep. I have a couple of TVs that older TVs I have in the garage set up for retro stuff, and then I also built a MAME cabinet that has a multi-sync, multi-resolutional display. So when I'm playing Pac-Man, I'm playing it at the original resolution and refresh rate, which is like 15 hertz.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And everybody's like, "What? Are you crazy? I spent $600 on this monitor."
That sounds like a great idea. Money well spent.
Yeah, I want to get the lowest res possible on the $600.
Yeah, you had Lunduke, and hey, I can play this at 60 by 60.
Yeah,
let's rock and roll.
Yeah. But it's totally worth it. It's so worth it. Because when I'm playing, say, Galaga, right? I'm playing Galaga. Okay. I'm playing it with the original scan lines. This is on a curved screen. DRT. Okay. Yes, it's emulated, but just the software part of it, because obviously I can't get a Galaga board and just stick it. It's hard. That's hard to find. Yeah. But it plays exactly the same. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's honestly, I would say that's what you did was the important part. That physical, that tube, that part, you can't fake that in software. At the very least, on the emulation side of things, you can get. It's not ever perfect. It's never exactly right, because there's a difference in latency from when we push our button till it gets the signal to how it worked under, like, let's say the NES or Super Nintendo. It's different. You can feel it, and if you're a pro, it gets you to the point of madness, and you want to just kill your emulated machine because of it. But it's a real thing. So fixing those physical things, that's what makes the most sense to me. I've seen some emulators that are really fantastic. Honestly, like running DOS games under DOSBox, half the time works better than running it under DOS. Like it just they've spent so much development time on it that they make sure they get it just right. Now, it's never perfect. Almost every game, like the Sound Blaster emulation, it's like, that's so close. That's so close to just being right with that same chip. That sound, was it that Yamaha chip? It just sounded exactly right. But then the next note would just be a little bit off, and it'd be like, oh, well, it took me out of it. The magic is lost. The veil has been dropped. I see you for who you are.
It's funny, like you mentioned box, because like when you go to install like 3.1.1 in today's environment on a modern machine, it's easier just to use DOSBox than it is the DOS disk. Like I had 6.22, and then I was having trouble with it. I was trying to do some kind of retro thing, and then I was like, screw it. I just put DOSBox on, and then I just loaded 3.1.1 right up.
The only thing to look out for is any application that needs share. Was it share.exe or share.com? You can't do that under DOSBox, but you can do that under like QEMU or VirtualBox or something running MS-DOS. But you need that share for things like if you want to put Microsoft Office and PowerPoint under Windows 3.1.1, it will blow all sorts of weird chunks under DOSBox. Especially like PowerPoint and a couple others, and like some like Adobe Photoshop. You can get Adobe Photoshop that runs 311, which is a lot of fun if you put it on like DOSBox on your phone, because then you can run Windows 311 almost full screen on your phone with PowerPoint. It's just the most random thing, but you can do it. Yeah, you need share in order to do most of those things. So you end up having to run a real emulator. That's the one thing. Otherwise, DOSBox is the bee's knees. It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Good stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, that was interesting to me.
That was pretty cool.
The philosopher Brony. The philosopher Brony. I feel like there's a story there. Feel free to at me that story. Make it 240 words or less, like a headline of your life that led to you being called the philosopher Brony. I want to hear it, but make sure it's safe for work. Asks, any recommendations for starting a Raspberry Pi BBS? First of all, the fact that you ask that makes you 10 times cooler than you were before asking that. So well done for that.
So that would be great. Like a Raspberry Pi 4. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great system for it. I mean, there's a couple of platforms that run. Synchronet is going to be the obvious one, but it's kind of a pain in the butt to build and get up and running under a Raspberry Pi 4. But once you get it up and running, it's pretty cool. The documentation on it isn't fantastic, but it's not bad either. I believe Mystic runs on the Raspberry Pis as well.
Now, Brian, I was going to say, BBS running on Raspberry Pi, great idea. I think that'd be awesome. But
no door games. Well, so it is possible. So
I can't play Trade Wars. I don't care.
So you can run it under DOS-EMU. DOS-EMU actually works for passing off COM port control or console driver control. It's a real pain to set up if you've got like 20 line BBSs. Oh man, that's a pain. If it's just one line, it's not so bad. If you've got a big multi-line system, it's a real pain. It is theoretically possible.
Okay.
But I don't know anyone who's doing it with any real success.
But isn't it just better at that point? I mean, you could spend $50 on a Raspberry Pi 4 kit, or just get an old, $50 desktop from a business and do that. Right?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways you could do it. So I have just a simple Pentium, old school Pentium, just running here that runs my BBS. But for years, I just hosted it out of a VPS.
It was a netbook, I think, wasn't it?
Like I hosted off a netbook for a couple of years. That's right. I had an old Tripoli PC 700.
Yep.
Actually, that worked astonishingly well.
Yeah.
An old Tripoli PC 700, man, that thing was cheap when it came out.
They were beasts.
It ran my BBS. I think I ran it with 10 lines back then, but yeah, it just ran great off of a netbook. At this point, you can get it for $20. That'll run it just fine.
Not wrong.
It's my only recommendation is, you're not going to run Linux. Don't run Linux. Don't put Linux on it. Running a Linux BBS is just the weirdest thing. I keep trying to do it. In fact, I just got done trying to do it again, and it was just a nightmarish scenario. It seems like it's a good idea. It seems like it's an obvious fit.
Sure.
But BBSs were always DOS focused. I mean, there were great BBS packages for Macintoshes and Apple IIs and Commodore 64s, and some really famous ones existed. But most, like 98.7 bazillion % of them were all for DOS. So it's just the DOS world that you come from. So all the games are for DOS. Like all but 3 interesting or worthwhile games are DOS games or DOS only games. And so you might as well just run a DOS BBS, which means run Windows. And it's the only thing that I give you a pass to run Windows for, with no judgment, because there's just no viable alternative for doing it elsewhere. Because half the point of running a BBS now is to basically keep the past alive and keep the past going. So you got to run a DOS-based system. You have to.
Fair enough. Good stuff.
Any thoughts? What do you guys think?
No,
I would agree with that. I mean, doing it on Linux seems like you're reinventing the wheel. I mean, it doesn't really feel authentic. So
right. It's a new thing. It's a different thing at that point. Yeah, and it's fine.
Well, I think it goes back to the emulation question, right? Where you do, if you can do it and do the best that you can with the hardware, maybe you're using newer hardware, but you can emulate the older DOS. That's going to be a lot easier for you, right?
Indeed.
So it probably makes sense to go that route.
right?
Indeed.
Yeah, you gotta keep it old school.
Yeah.
Seriously.
You can run it on OS2 or
Get a
Desk
Packard
View.
Bell and just throw it in the corner,
Yes.
and you're done.
Yes.
You're done.
Indeed.
God, that'd be beautiful. I should do that. Right now, my BBS is running a way too powerful of a box. Like, it's
Yeah, get a
just not
Packard Bell,
authentically old. Like, it
I
needs
have
to be like an
I have a
old one.
love-hate thing with Packard Bells. A lot of PC repair days, a lot of love-hate stuff, a lot of anger,
Get a
a lot
gateway.
of no.
Get a cow box. Just get a cow box.
Ooh,
Ooh,
gateway.
That
Yeah.
does sound like a good idea. Oh, if I could get
I didn't hate those.
one of
I
the
did not hate
really cowy
Yeah.
Gateway 2000s, like the real,
It arrived to your door.
the real
it's got
distinct
cow
ones.
spots. I mean, yeah.
Cow prints. Yes.
Yeah, I want that. I want
That'd
that.
be cool.
Okay. All right, I've got a new bucket list item. Jackson Taylor asks, what's your take on what happened to Gary Kildall? I saw a YouTube comment from somebody claiming to have worked with him that said the missed IBM meeting story is false. Do you guys care about this topic at all?
I'm interested, but I know nothing of it. So, I mean, I know who he is, but that's about it.
Well, I mean, he drank himself to death, and he basically could have been Bill Gates'. I think it's Cold Fusion. I think I watched that whole thing. It was cool. If you watched the Cold Fusion, Brian? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What'd you think of it? What was your thoughts on Cold Fusion's take on Kildall? Could have been Gates.
I don't know. You know, Gary Kildall,
I think it's crap, but I mean, because Gates is. Oh, go ahead.
I don't know. No. I want to hear what you think. What do you think?
So like, I think honestly, people confuse technology brilliance for business brilliance.
Yeah, right.
There's a big difference
true.
between the
That's
two.
true.
Like, I don't think
agree with
Gates is some mastermind, brilliant computer whiz. He's a ruthless businessman that was very good at using and grabbing talent and other people that had great ideas
and licensing things he didn't have yet. He was a master. I mean,
he was a master at that. Like, quick and dirty DOS, all that stuff. Now, Brian knows way more than I do about that subject, but I understand the base material of it. And I got to tell you, Bill Gates, it's amazing to see what he accomplished. But it was really using other people's work, and the fact of how he went about it doing is just kind of amazing to me.
Sure.
But I would love to hear how that all went down. How do you think it went down with Kildall? Because the whole story, how I understand, kind of how it was pitched by like Cold Fusion, was he missed that meeting, and then all that kind of went in. But really, if you're not familiar, basically Kildall is the reason DOS exists. Period.
Okay.
Well,
in my opinion.
If Gary had been at the meeting, is that the way IBM would have gone, and therefore they would have had no need?
Because technically at that time it wasn't. I mean, it existed, just not in their hands yet, to my understanding.
Quick and Dirty, yeah, Quick and Dirty existed. Quick and Dirty existed at that point, but I don't think that the Seattle Computer Company folks and Tim were likely to make $1 million off of it by themselves. There were a lot of people doing
that it existed, but it wasn't in Microsoft's hands yet, that they hadn't actually transacted that whole situation
So
yet.
what Tim created was a CP/M clone. I mean, DOS is a clone of CP/M. And it was specifically a bare functionality clone of one of the more popular versions of CP/M that was out at the time, right? So it was a straightforward thing. It was a very simple operating system, which it needed to be, but it existed at the time. They licensed it from Tim. Or Seattle Computer Company. That's
my understanding.
Their full name. So if Gary had showed up to the meeting, that final one, would IBM have just gone with Gary?
Right.
I mean, it seems likely. I mean, digital research, come on. They were like 1 million times more trustworthy than Microsoft. Like if you're like an IBM company.
Right. There's a track record to point to. That kind of thing.
I think also
I think that's a more obvious choice, but I get what you're saying though. Bill Gates is a savvy businessman, right? Yeah. And I want to say this. I want to come to Bill Gates' defense on this one, because it just doesn't happen very often. He's actually a pretty good coder too. He gets a lot of flack for things. Like he's had a couple of moments where someone will be looking at his code and laugh, and like he just wants to flip out and fire them. Like he can't, right? Like there are some emotional moments for sure.
Sure.
But like so Bill was the primary dev on this bad boy.
Okay.
Oh, hey.
Which runs in very few K of RAM and does a ton. It's got full communications program, word processor capabilities, a full programming language that is actually fairly complete. Honestly, you could, if this had more memory storage, you could live in here. But realistically, he did a huge amount with very little, and very little processing power too. Honestly, that makes modern devs look just terrible. So my general feeling is he's actually pretty good at what he does, which makes him kind of like a double threat, right? Like if you're Gary Kildall, oh man, Bill knows, not only does he know how to be a ruthless businessman, but he knows enough about everything where he can, on his feet, renegotiate with himself to figure out what's doable, what's possible, put himself together a little like mental Gantt chart really quickly so he knows what's reasonable to ship in that amount of time, and then beat someone else to cutting the throat of the victim open. So he's a dangerous man. I would have loved so much to see Gary Kildall not just live a lot longer, but have more success, because honestly the systems that he built were really cool. And he seemed like a really cool dude, not just because I watched that TV show with him.
Right.
So here's another thing I heard too, kind of going into that. You say, if Kildall made that meeting, and everyone kind of assumes that Kildall would have gotten the contract for IBM. What if, because how business usually works is, it's not necessarily what's the best person or product for the job, but it's more about the relationships that happen behind the scenes, and that's usually how contracts are dispensed out. That's just usually how things happen. My thoughts are Bill Gates by himself was just pretty much a kid at this time in the business world. Yeah. His parents or someone well connected to somebody IBM, I think, established that relationship enough to where it made it all kind of happen.
I can't speak to any of how that back channel
can't
stuff
either.
went
This
down.
is me speculating.
I really don't know. I don't know. I don't have a clue. It would make sense. I mean, they had enough connections. Might as well use them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume they would have. I mean, honestly, I don't know what connections Gary had, but if he had them, I hope he used them. Because it's what you do. You tap. Hey, you remember? Hey, we hang out sometimes. Do the thing for me. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you have friends that work at different companies, right? Like, I don't know.
I've done that once or three times. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I mean, occasionally it works out.
I'm just saying, I think, Gates had a good back door into that meeting going into it. And then he just said, hey, I can do it.
Maybe he would have taken that no matter what Gary did to present to the IBM bosses, right? Like maybe Gary could have come in there and done the biggest, coolest show ever, but maybe the numbers just weren't on his side. Maybe the IBM bosses already made up their mind. We don't know.
That's true.
It would be really cool to know. Maybe pointless in hindsight, but it would just be cool to know, as I love knowing these things. Right. I don't know. What do you think, Jace? Any personal feelings on the fabled DOS visit with IBM?
I don't have enough data to compute an answer, unfortunately.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah. Here, let me guys.
Better when I came up with
yeah, Chase. What was? Did you ever have like a Windows 95 box?
Oh, sure. Back in the day. Yeah.
So this question comes in from Ben. On a Windows 95 box or Windows 98 or something like that.
Yeah.
Have you ever, step one, taken a screenshot of the desktop, and step two, removed all the icons off the desktop, and step three, made the screenshot that you took previously the background of your friend's computer? Have you ever done that?
Oh yeah, it's a great April Fool's joke.
Who hasn't done that?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, make people panic and stuff. Oh yeah,
Titus, you did it too as well, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let me ask you guys this. I want to ask you all at the same time. When you did it, did you think you were coming up with that? Like did someone else tell you to do that?
No.
Or did you see it somewhere? Or did you just spontaneously like, this is the most brilliant prank ever, and no one's ever thought of it before? Like, did any of you think like you were the person that came up with it?
No.
I thought the person that I heard it from was the first, but not me personally. No, because I heard about it. It's like, ooh, that's good.
So Titus says no. Chase?
Yeah, no. That is a negative.
Here's the thing. I had that feeling. Which, now, I'm no scientist.
What?
But I think scientists might say that so far, I seem to be patient zero for this one. Based on the sample size we have currently, I definitely came up with whatever this joke was. I was just saying.
Well, I mean, then you got to have somebody edit the Wikipedia. And
Wikipedia will remove it immediately if it's got the word Lunduke in it. The Wikipedia editors will make sure that it's removed immediately. I don't have like they've tried like 1,000 times, I think, to like make like Wikipedia pages for me. Every single time the Wikipedia editors are like, no, you can't do that. Go away. We don't allow that word here.
Not notable enough. That's their go-to. Yeah.
Which really hurts. Come on, Wikipedia. Not nice.
Right.
I've seen some of the people that have Wikipedia pages. They should not have pages.
Nope.
Do you have a Wikipedia page, Chase?
No, I don't. No one's. I've been included on some Wikipedia entries, but no, of course, I don't have my own. No.
Yeah, no.
I've been included on entries. I had a page for about 5 minutes that apparently someone made and was quickly taken down, but mostly mine's all just mentions. So
yeah. I'll get like these alerts like every couple of months. You know, those like what's getting what websites has your name showed up on little alerts, little vanity alerts that we get.
Yeah, right.
So I'll get one every couple of months that'll be like, look, this thing on Wikipedia, and I'll go check it out. No, it's already deleted. Like by the time it gets to me, no, Wikipedia editors, they've taken care of business.
And I've been removed from more websites than I've actually am on currently.
Yeah.
So I've been removed from a lot of websites actually. So so that seems par for the course.
Well, you know, it takes. I just would like to put this out there that it must take an awful lot of effort from someone pretty awesome to remove your name from so many websites.
It happens. Yeah. It's usually projects that So anyway, yeah.
All right. So Ben also wants to know, in general, what is the best computer prank you've ever done?
Ooh.
Like, what's the best computer-related prank you've played on like a family member or a coworker or friend or something like that? Like, and it can't be just that you set their homepage to like
no.
Like a midget bowling league or something like that. Right? Like you can't, like that doesn't count. Setting someone's homepage does not count unless it's just the first knocked over pin that strikes like 1,000 different matches or something like that to create an amazing explosion. Like it has to be amazing.
Right.
So I'm just saying.
So I have a friend who had a Kinect or Kinesis keyboard, if I remember right, and it allows you to reprogram any of the buttons at any time with a couple of button presses on the keyboard. And so basically, I remapped the A letter with his E letter and flipped them. So whenever he would try to type something and he didn't figure it out, and he's just like, I just bought this $200 keyboard, and it's like they wired the stuff wrong. He didn't even think that we just reprogrammed one letter, and we let it go for like 20 minutes.
Right.
And then like he was about ready to destroy it, and we're like, all right, back away from the keyboard.
Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah. I like that. That's pretty good.
It's really not bad. That's really not bad. How about you, Titus? You got any? Have you ever been cruel? I know you do horrible things to your computer. You must.
So I'm going to give you two. I'm going to give you a professional one and then more of a personal one.
All right.
Dang.
So the personal one, there was this guy in the office that I really didn't like that much, and he was just really mean to me. And you know how they say you should never be mean to your IT person?
Yeah.
Well, I decided, I was like, I don't care anymore. They're not going to know. So I got into like group policy object, and then got like I'm trying to think of a good way to say this without just blurting it out. Risque stuff going on in the background, but very, very unflattering. And many coworkers would judge you very, very poorly by that choice of risque stuff on the screen. And I set it as a group policy object for his desktop wallpaper. So like, it didn't matter what he did, no matter how hard he tried to change it, it would just immediately just go right back. And it was just
that's evil.
Awesome. And I was just like, I don't exist. And then
that's good. That's
probably the other one in the professional realm when I was a computer sales guy at Fry's Electronics. Oh God, I hope they don't sue me over this. I don't know about this story now that I'm saying it out loud.
It's hypothetical. It's fine. You're good.
Hypothetically, back in the 2001 era, we had a computer called Great Quality. It was anything but great quality, and salespeople hated selling them because they had zero commission and they were just like dirt cheap.
Right.
So the supervisor's like, Titus, okay, if we sell any more of these great quality things, it's killing me. I literally am working for practically free because they would actually remove it from his bonus checks.
Right.
So I was like, I got just the thing, man. Here's what we're going to do. I went in, deleted a couple Windows DLLs, and then as soon as anybody would start using it, it would blue screen and then reboot itself. And
that's actually pretty smart.
So I'm going like, yeah, we've been having a lot of problems with this, but we got a ton in the back. I can hook you up with one. And then they were like, all right. What else you got? And I'm like, oh, well, let me just show you over here. So that was the ambitious Titus at about 19, 20 years of age.
Right. Awesome. I love that so much.
Doing computer sales and trying not to sell crap that didn't make any money. And it was actually crappy computers. I was doing people a favor, to be honest, because that was anything but great quality.
Right.
Yeah. You're saving the world, man.
That's right.
Wow.
One
That's
geek at a
brutal.
time.
I think I can beat these. What do you got, Matt? You got any good prankages?
Back in the day, as kind of a supplement to my computing experiences, I owned a web TV. And if anyone is familiar with web TV, they were highly, highly scriptable.
Yeah.
Meaning you can embed literally anything in them, including what used to be called redialer code. Redialer code's cool because you get them to open up an HTML hidden, it's all hidden from the human eye. It's all basically just HTML. It reboots their web TV and you can have it dial the number that you have set it up for. Well, being not a weirdo, I said, okay, let's keep this kosher. We'll have it dial Domino's. So I would send this to other people I knew that had web TV, and they would click on the email, open to the email. As soon as that code's exposed, the web TV reboots itself, and then of course, instead of dialing into the web TV network, it dials Domino's, and you can hear it. So that was kind of cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's beautiful, man.
And because other people were using it for nefarious things like calling, 3 numbers and things like that, and that's not cool. But Domino's, that's fine. That's fine. Domino's
I know. I'm just saying, you're one step away from, man. You're in the handbook. You know what I'm saying? Like the 3 of you guys are hardcore. I have no interesting stories. Mine are mostly setting people's web browser homepages. That's mostly what I got. I change out some wallpaper from time to time. I did the screenshot thing.
Met some bookmarks, maybe,
Yeah, do some weird bookmarks, which is more weird that I know intrinsically what they would be embarrassed by. Like what is so embarrassing, it's almost past the line, but not quite of what was acceptable in whatever environment it was.
Sure.
Why did I have those memorized? Why were those at the forefront of my mind so that I would put them into the person's bookmarks? Soul searching to do there. Right. But otherwise, the only other time I really did anything was when one of my kid sisters had a DOS like 286, like a little 286 with an EGA screen. Horrible PC buzzer in there, little PC speaker in there that made you just want to just murder it, right? It was just horrible sounding. And she had it, and she was using it for like 5 games. There was like one game that she really liked, and like a couple other games she kind of liked, and there was just this one like tutor program. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't like the Mavis Beacon teaches typing or something like that, like a fun gamified one. It was just like this awful tutor program. I don't remember. It was almost like Dr. I Hate You's tutoring program for dogs.
I would buy that, by the way.
It was not fun. It was just the graphics were such that you just instantly hated whoever put them on the screen. It was stark and not in a good way, and it had the most awful blaring PC speaker buzzes that you couldn't turn off.
That's beautiful.
So my sister, she wasn't deep into the typing and reading and all that sort of thing yet. She was just starting down that path. And so to help teachers, we had a batch file, launched a batch file, and she had letters that down the side, and she pushed the letter and it started the game. So that teachers are able to look for things on the keyboard and, teach her Englishy stuff, right?
Sure.
Language, learning, it's fun. So I went in there and I made every entry on the batch file point to the one application she really hated. And she got so mad. She pretty much destroyed my bedroom. She sat on it, trying each one, getting screamed at by this horrible game she hated. She never figured it out. She sat there for an hour and just progressively got more and more rage intensified until she just wrecked my bedroom. So that was worth it. That was totally worth it. It was worth every second of it.
Oh my.
Yeah, so there you go. That's the worst I ever did. And it really wasn't. I edited a batch file. That's the most extreme I ever got.
That's still pretty good. That's that's pretty good.
I've changed a lot of home pages. I'll tell you what, that is the only thing I got. That's the only trick in my sleeve.
And as someone in the chat room points out, you can also get into the host files, and that can be a bucket of fun if you know what you're doing. You can have a lot of fun with that.
I've never actually done that for a prank. Have you guys ever done it as a prank?
It sounds like a great idea, actually.
I've only modified the host file to. Oh, I can't say that on stream. I've only modified the host file to point to things I don't want to hit the DNS server.
Yeah, right.
So I've actually just used it for practical purposes.
Yeah,
and then I think I used it once to block Facebook.
Yeah, you use it to block or allow certain things. I mean, that's it, right? I mean, mostly.
It'd be funny. They go to Facebook, they end up on Friendster or something like that. I mean, you could or MySpace. I mean, you could have a lot of fun with this. It could be very wholesome, but you can have a good time. Why not, right?
Right. I completely agree. I'm reading through to see if I missed any cool questions. Did you guys see any cool questions? I feel like I should ask questions of the audience, not just assume. I have plenty of topics to finish out the show here with. Oh, you know what?
It needs to be a good question, though.
Yeah, that's the trick.
I mean, we got to finish strong here.
I got to finish. That's the trick. I totally forgot my show and tell.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
My show and tell today is very simple.
Okay.
All right.
And I'm going to see if you guys can see this on camera.
Oh.
That is Space Quest 1, the Sarian Encounter.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Running on an 8186 HP Palm Top.
That's awesome.
And it runs and plays at full speed and fantastically. It looks funky as heck.
And on the black and white camera, it actually shows up really well. I'm looking at the feed here. I can get a way better look at it. Yeah. Okay. Now I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. It actually.
Nice.
Plays.
Oh yeah.
Here's the amazing thing about it. Anyone who knows that game, knows the colors of that game. You know how it feels, right? I mean, people who are into adventure games like Sierra games are really into Space Quest, right? You know that opening couple of scenes of Space Quest where you're like in the hallways and stuff like that. And it is exactly the same on this, and yet the experience is utterly different. It is fascinating. I have truly enjoyed it. It's weird looking. There's no colors. Some things blend together oddly, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I just wanted to point that out there, that it was oddly usable on this little screen because it's a CGA display. And it technically detects it as a color CGA display because the chip's color, but the screen's only black and white, so all it gets is the black and white stuff. So CGA color games run great on it. It's a fascinating little device. Those little HP LXs, they're just glorious.
So
glorious.
what is your favorite platformer of all time? Like mine, I have a bunch of them, but a lot of people will probably choose like Prince of Persia and other like obvious ones. I'm going to go
Prince of Persia's great.
One that I absolutely love, and it's just such an oddball one, but I played the crap out of this one. It was just fascinating. But I had a 3DO system from Panasonic as like just a refurb that I grabbed, and it had this game called Flashback. And the Flashback was so awesome. Like I remember just playing for days and days of Flashback. It was probably one of my favorite platformers, even though going back to it, the controls are a little wonky and not quite as responsive. But man, that was like my favorite platformer of all time.
It's hard to beat that one. That one is pretty great. Okay. What do you think, Chase? What do you think?
Oh boy.
Best platformer.
Best platform.
The greatest. The one you just love the most. Not the most iconic, not the most historically significant. The one that you just think is rad.
So I have two answers for you. So the first answer is what got me started, and I still feel it. It's great then and it's great today. Is the original Super Mario Brothers that really kind of gripped me into the platform culture.
It's a good game. It's a good game.
But fast forwarding into modern consoles, the game that got me that I love still to this day is Sonic Adventure for the original Dreamcast. That
game, with the chows.
The chows
that you ran on the VMUs. Yeah,
VMU. Yeah,
I love those things.
That game. Oh my god, I was so like whenever I would get off work, I had to get home and play. It's just like, I was so addicted to that game, and it was.
Did
so
you carry your VMUs around with you?
Yes. Oh yes. Yeah, I had it on my.
Me and my wife did too.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. My girlfriend at the time. We had our VMUs that we pretty much Pokemon or whatever. What was the thing that was back then?
I bought extra batteries for it and everything.
Oh god. What was the thing? The Tamagotchis.
Tamagotchis.
Yep. That was it. I'm like, my sister had one. I can't remember the name of that stupid little thing that she constantly made sad or stinky or whatever it was. My sister, what are you gonna do? But yeah, no, good answer. Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast. That was an amazing game. That was a truly good one.
Close second, Super Mario World Yoshi's Island 2.
Okay.
Yep, it's a close second. I played a lot of that on the Super Nintendo back in the day, but really it was Sonic Adventure on Dreamcast. I was just addicted to playing that game.
I get it. Okay, yeah. Hartley, give it to me.
Well, there's two, and one I don't know if you've even.
I like that. This is like one of the most seriously important questions we could possibly be taking. I need to waffle it. Right now. I got 3 or 4 picks.
Yeah. So. For me, it's like I technically have two. One is really old school, and I guess you call it a platformer. Missile Command. I was really into Missile Command. I used to, I loved the fact I wasn't getting bored with it.
It was good. I don't know that I'd call it a platformer.
That's why I said I wasn't sure. No, I have another one that is a platformer, but that one's kind of like whatever. Missile Command was kind of my jam.
It's a good game, though.
Yeah, it was a great game. As far as platformer, honestly, the original Mega Man was kind of my jam.
Mega Man is great.
And not that I didn't like the sequels as much; they were whatever. But I really enjoyed the story, the playability, the flow, the levels, the boss levels. I really enjoyed the playthrough on that. I wasn't that great at it. I was more of a Zelda guy, but I really enjoyed playing Mega Man. I would unwind with it. I wasn't, because after I'm done throwing Zelda out the window because I'm just frustrated with it because I'm tired of dying. I would play Mega Man, and it was a lot of fun. I had a good time with it. So still not Mr. Man, but whatever. That's okay.
I get it. Yeah. Oh man, you know what? I think I got to pick 2 also. I have to. So the first one, there was a game for the Nintendo Entertainment System, Bionic Commando.
Okay, right.
Where you have this grappling hook that you can shoot at almost any like ceiling type thing, and you can dangle from it and swing from it using this grappling hook. That was the first time I'd seen that play mechanic really work smoothly throughout the game. And I loved it. I just did flips in the air half the time. I was just swinging around, doing little spin jump things with my grappling hook. I found that almost more enjoyable than the game itself. it was a good game. I
That's
loved
cool.
that. So that for me, that was like one of those iconic platformers where it's like they were really doing more than the traditional platformer. Like they gave you the chance to interact with the world in a whole new way. That was cool.
Right. That is cool. And I get that.
The other one is also from the NES. I'd go Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah.
Such an iconic
3 was a
game.
game changer. 3 was a game changer.
That shifted the entire
Okay.
Super Mario landscape.
It did.
Brian,
Yeah.
did you freak out when you saw Super Mario Brothers 3 in the movie The Wizard?
Of course I did.
Of course you did.
In the theater.
Of course. Yes.
I was there in the theater with a friend of mine. Yeah,
Yeah.
we were watching that one, and that was what we were there for.
Yeah.
And honestly, and I wanted the Power Glove. It's so bad,
Yes.
and it's so bad, and I wanted all those things because those were awesome.
Oh, the
Those were
Power Glove
terribly
was-
awesome.
Power Glove was terrible.
That's hilarious. You brought that up. I just downloaded 1989 The Wizard because my
Yes.
kids they saw. I was like, I've gotta. I remember watching
Yes.
this movie. It was amazing. It was like, oh, is he gonna get to warp all this crazy and all this? Oh, I mean, I'm sure the movie's so horrible on the second playthrough here, but it's been like literally 20 years since I've seen it, and I am gonna sit there with my kids and we're gonna watch it.
You know what?
Hopefully tomorrow.
Yeah.
It actually has
man.
moments that are good. I saw it. I saw it kind of recently with that same expectation. I'm like, oh God, I haven't seen this since I was like a
Oh, that's
tween.
Fred Savage. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember.
Like
that.
I
It's
don't
old.
remember. Like it could have been anything. I saw some pretty terrible movies in the 80s, so I don't know. But it's like watching 10 minutes of a great movie shredded and sprinkled over across of like a TV movie of the week. Like it's pretty cheesy and bad for most of it, but there's moments in there, man. Just let yourself give into it. When that kid opens up the box and shows you like the games in it all in a row, and like the audio's like, oh, like just let yourself fly with it and be like, that's tight. Like get excited as if you're like an 8-year-old again. That's
Seriously.
you have to do it, otherwise you can't sit through that movie. It's the worst. you have to give yourself those moments, but it's worth it. What were we even talking about? Now I'm all off onto Fred Savage land. I could talk about Fred Savage movie. We just watched The Princess Bride the other night. That was
Oh, that's a classic. That is such a classic.
Bride's good.
my 9-year-old daughter loved it. Like she was the perfect age for it. She hadn't seen it before, and she loved it. Like she was just old enough to to start understanding enough of that stuff where she can see a movie like that. And did it resonated. They found true love and they fought for true love. You know what I mean? I mean, this is like one step away from a really great My Little Pony episode. Like it's it's really good. So she was pretty excited about it.
I thought I had a question, but I couldn't find it. So I don't know.
That's what I was actually
Yeah,
scrolling
I had
earlier.
one up
I
there,
thought
and
I
it's like
saw
I can't find it now. Other than something about stupid hair, but if any of us ever had stupid hair, it's like, yeah. I mean, everyone went through their JoJo phase.
I'm
Fine.
working on it. So I had I had several kind of weird hairs, but I had I shaved my whole head off at one point. I bald. I looked horrible. I immediately looked like the worst skinhead ever. Like immediately. Like because I'm really pale, you know what I mean? And I've got like really angular features, and so like as soon as I go skinhead, it just looks like, oh man, I'm not gonna do something good. Like it's like you cross the street. Like this is not gonna go well. And so I'm like, okay, I got to put something back on up there. And as long as I keep it trimmed, it's okay. But man, it's getting long now. I've got like.
Yeah, you're getting pretty shaggy. My wife cut her own hair and is now threatening to cut mine. She actually cut her own hair. She did pretty well.
I'm liking where you're at, man. I'm liking it. It's looking good.
No, she's all 5 minutes. That's all I need. I'm like, no.
Oh, heavens.
Nope.
How about you guys? You guys getting professionally done stylist stuff? Or are you having like a spouse do it or what? What are you guys doing?
I just go to the haircut place and they cut my hair, but it's like
when have you been?
Well, yeah, but you're in Texas.
Yeah, I'm in Texas.
Wait.
There's no COVID here. We're just all open.
You punch the clock. It says, "Suck it up, Buttercup." Walk in the door. You're fine.
Man, everything's closed here. Like you.
You just wear the masks and it's fine. You have to they won't let you in the door without the mask and stuff, and they still do it. But I mean, they're pretty sanitary about it. Where the place I'm going, but I mean, again, I'm not going for an expensive haircut. It's like a $10 haircut. So I mean, hey,
I know, but still, it's nice to have someone cut. How about you, Chase? Have you been actually getting haircuts?
So I was getting a little shaggy and everything was still closed, and this was about a month ago, and my mother-in-law really wanted to cut my hair, and my wife was encouraging it. So I let it happen. And it worked out well. She did a good job. And now that the hairstylist is back open again, I already told my wife I'm going back to the hairstylist. So it worked out.
It worked out great. Your mother-in-law did a great job.
Yeah, because you're in the county next to me, so you're probably the same phase we are. So I think there are stylist place open now. I just haven't looked.
Yeah, it just opened up the one, and you can do online check-in and wait.
Yeah, that's where I usually the same place. Yeah, I do an online check-in here locally. So
I think on some of the counties they've got hairstylists, but they don't for mine. And I'm not gonna travel between counties to get a haircut. That's ridiculous.
I live in Chuckwagon County, so whatever. But yeah, it's fine. Whatever. So I mean, I live in Chuckwagon County with FiOS, so it's not all bad.
It's not all bad. Yes. It's not the worst thing that's ever happened.
Delicious
as long
fiber.
as you've got FiOS.
Right.
Holy heavens. From what's our brand now? Ziply.
Ziply, yes. Yeah, Ziply bought Frontier.
What the heck is that?
Ziply.
Hey, I am I gotta say, I'm optimistic about the local company just because of the fact that they are a Northwest company.
That's good.
Unlike Frontier, which they only got from taking Verizon's debt.
Yeah,
and so I'm very optimistic. Actually, I had a repair guy at my house last week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they were quick on the draw, fixing my ONT, and I'm very pleased with the level of service.
Name Ziply though, dude.
Yeah.
Ziply.
It's a little weird, but I mean, like when I went gigabit, they had to upgrade my ONT because my ONT was pre-gigabit, before gigabit was like many years ago. So they upgraded my ONT, and that was cool. But that was before Ziply. That was back when it was still Frontier, and it was kind of weird. But I do want to thank Frontier for all the extra free routers you guys have been sending me for no reason at all. I have a stack of them. They're great. I use them for all kinds of random stuff. So I use a PS Sunspot. I don't need it, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Whatever. Sure.
Oh, that's horrendous.
One of them was a DSL.
Oh, my
I don't know how that works, but okay. It's like they're
ladies and gentlemen.
We can get that figured out, but
ladies and gentlemen.
So
don't name your company Ziply, and thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
Tickly would be cool.
No, it wouldn't.
I would want to get a tickly internet. I mean, it's like
okay. Fair enough.
Fun loving. Okay.
That makes my internet feel weird. I don't like that at all.
Are we back to feelings again? Are we doing the feelings things again?
This show is about feelings. Chase Nunes.
All the feels. You're giving me the feels, Brian.
I totally do. Chase, this was totally nice of you to hang out with us, man. We've been wanting to do this one for a while.
Yeah.
It's great to see you. You are a delight.
I will fully admit, how things have happened over the past few weeks that set this particular life into motion. But that being said, I want to say, thank you for extending the invite and having me here and chatting and having a good time.
Definitely.
Thank you. Yeah,
for sure, man.
I appreciate that.
Obviously.
And I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us because the outside world is the worst. It is the worst thing ever. So I don't want to be the outside world. And this is my respite. My children are all asleep right now. I don't know how that happened. It literally, the show was going to go on in like 10 minutes, and my boy was still bouncing on the bed. And somehow, by the time the show started, he was asleep. Yes.
That's cool. That's cool.
Children are asleep. It's Saturday night. For the last 2 hours, I've only talked nerdy things with 3 of the nicest nerds I can find. Thank you guys for helping me do that. Thank you, chat room, for helping me do that. Thank you, everyone who goes to linode.com/Lunduke and using their $60 of credit on, let's say, a mud. Let's say you're setting up a mud that I can SSH to and set up and check out. That's what I would like to see. If you set up your own mud, I'm telling you what, $60 in credits goes a heck of a long way if you're setting up a mud server. You just don't need that high of specs to run a mud. That's the beauty of it all. That $60 goes forever. I think they have like a limit. I think you have to use it within like a couple of months. You know what I mean? It's one of those deals. So it's going to be a beefy mud server. I will amplify that. I will retweet that announcement to the world. Oh, thank you guys. Chase.
Yes.
Promote something. Tell me something cool. If it involves pinball machines, I high five you.
If you like pinball, if you like geeky and gaming stuff, check out Geek Gamer TV on the Twitch, on the YouTubes, on the Facebooks, and on the normal internets as well. But yeah, a lot of pinball. Actually,
are you on the library?
I'm sorry?
LBRY, the library.
Am I on the library?
Are you on the library?
It's like a YouTube alternative that's, well, it's kind of.
I'm like the library proselytizer. I'm knocking on your door. Have you read the good book of the library yet?
If this is anything about like Dianetics or Scientology,
it might be. I haven't gotten that high up in the recruiting process. I did the thing where you grab the little metal tubes, but that's all. Yeah, it's a multi-tier system. Yeah. I gotta bring more people underneath me is what I gotta do.
And then I gotta find people.
Build a pyramid. Correct. Yeah, I should be doing great. I should be doing great.
And my supplements should be ordered next month. I'm just saying. So.
Library's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Get on library.
Has Alex Jones.
That's what you say. LBRY has Titus, Lunduke, the Linux Gamer,
Alex
TLG.
And
Alex Jones. Yeah, Alex Jones is on it.
Oh God!
I used to work with a guy that worked with him at one. That's another story. Anyway, not in a weird way. More in a TV station, working kind of back behind the scenes kind of way. So yeah.
Oh my heavens!
Engineer.
Titus, promote a thing.
I had something planned.
Good deal, Matt. Promote a thing.
Okay. For the person that kept asking over and over and over in the chat room where my videos are at, easiest way to find them is just to hit Patreon/FreedomPenguin. I did a video on how to do deep fakes with your webcam and terrify people really badly. It's great. It's really, really simple to do. It will run technically on Windows, but it works best on Linux. So.
Delightful.
Yeah. And openshot.org. Do that too. Yeah. Do that.
Do that too. Do that too, dude.
Community. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, Titus. I'm gonna give you one more chance at this, big guy.
Okay. I got
all
something.
you gotta do, all you friggin' have to do is tell people a universal resource locator. Just in one URL. That's all you have to accomplish here.
Okay.
I'm not asking for the moon here, Titus.
Okay,
go for it.
I got it.
Okay, go for it.
If you go to youtube.com/lowercase u capital Z #1 C Z. No, I'm kidding. You can just
dude, you were halfway there.
I'm sorry. That's all I got. Check out my Monday video. I'm taking
there for Christmas.
Wait.
Making Winbuntu is what I'm calling it. It's going to be the Winbuntu video. Google it later, and I'm going to be all over the place.
This is the devil.
You can be everywhere, man. You can be everywhere. You know what? That's the reason right there that you've got a YouTube award on your wall. Right there. It's that sort of quality. Making it happen.
Amazing. That's some hard plastic right there.
That's the hardest kind of plastic you could possibly get. Oh, have we promoted everybody that can possibly be promoted? I think so. You know what? I've been mostly drinking Pepsi tonight. It's made with real sugar. It's been fantastic.
You're better off drinking alcohol, man. I mean,
no, I am not. This is delicious.
I do this once a month. You know,
okay.
I'm a water drinker.
Yeah, this is my night. Yeah. Oh, not only do I got that, I also have. Did you guys know? And I'm not saying this for the health benefits because God knows I was going to be eating a Pop-Tart anyway. But they actually have like naturally ones now that are like lower in sugar and don't only have like half of the really creepy ingredients. like half of them are gone, and like you look at the color of the jelly, and it's black and white for everybody at home, but you look at the color of the jelly, and it's like what you'd expect like a dehydrated fruit roll-up style strawberry would look like. It's not like that weird bright red that just is like something old and dried is not supposed to be that vibrant color. It's like it doesn't have any of that anymore, and it tastes like 10 times better than a regular Pop-Tart.
Okay.
It's the craziest thing. It is super delicious. Like, I could care less. This one could be slightly worse for me, and I'd probably buy this one. Like,
that's like delicious. When Pizza Hut said, now we're cooking with real ingredients. You remember that?
Yeah.
It was the greatest marketing disaster.
What were we eating?
Wait, what were we eating all these years? Now we're cooking with real pepperoni. What were we eating before?
There's a burger joint I used to frequent up in Washington. I won't say their name because it would be a really mean thing to say. Matt can probably figure it out.
Yeah. Oh,
chain or no chain?
Place?
Let's start with that.
I'm not gonna say anything.
He said local Seattle chain. I know exactly probably what he's talking about.
Not necessarily. Don't assume.
Okay.
Nobody assume.
Right.
There's several, but they had this thing back when I was in high school.
All right.
I don't know if they just made it at this sign at this location, but they put a sign up. And the sign said something to the effect of, now their beef is humanely sourced. Now.
As opposed
Which
to
means
what?
that their meat was sourced in the most inhumane way possible before that sign went up.
Slides a boxed copy of Windows ME across a table. You must remember before I off you.
I mean, that is just horrifying. Like, because I went to that burger joint a bit.
Right.
Because I had a friend that worked there, so it was cheap.
Yeah.
But oh my heavens, what was I eating? Some poor tortured
Not humanely
soul.
sourced beef, obviously. I'm saying.
No, I'm
I love
hungry.
meat. And I recommend the Pop-Tarts. These are insane. Thank you everyone for hanging out with us. For real. This has been absolutely fantastic. If wherever you live is currently still in the United States of America, congratulations.
Okay.
Well, some people aren't there anymore.
I
Life
live in
is
Peoria myself from Family Guy, but that's just me.
yeah. You going for the Petorian?
I am.
Yeah,
And it's wonderful.
I
here.
liked. I don't mean to bring at all politics of any kind into this show, but there's a joke. There's a joke that I read on Twitter the other day or earlier today from the guy who created Dilbert, Scott Adams. Was like he was upset because he was like appealing to the United Nations for recognition for his country because he declared his house and his land his country, and they denied him for one reason, which I will not say because it will inevitably spark a bunch of people yelling at each other. But the second reason was because the United Nations said there was apparently some other country already called Scotland, and it really pissed him off.
That's actually pretty funny.
I know. I liked that one.
That's actually pretty funny.
That was a good one.
Called Scotland.
That was good.
I did. I enjoyed that one. Oh, see that right there? That's what I call silver stinking lining. So anyway, the last 2 hours have been an absolute delight.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chase Nunes. Am I
Thank
saying
you,
your
sir.
name wrong, Chase
It's
Nunes?
Nunes. It's like Nunes. It's got a newness to it.
Oh, like Nunes.
Yep.
Okay, so not Nunes,
No,
like as though it has a Z at the end.
No.
That's insertion. You're inserting extra letters there.
Yeah,
Chase
Nunes.
Nunes.
Yeah,
Nunes.
Nunes.
Where does that come from? Where does the Nunes? Where do you get your Newness?
My name is a derivative Portuguese. Basically, it's a Portuguese name. Even though full disclosure, it's an adoptive name. I should have been like probably some sort of German or English name because I did one of those DNA tests I'm like 99% British German. I don't know how I got here. But basically, yeah.
Yeah, it's always a bit nutty. Nothing ever makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Whatever.
I don't even know.
Yeah. So, supposedly I have What were we talking about? We were heading off into the sunset. We're pronouncing Chase Nunes's name correctly now, and we all feel really great about that.
Thank you
That's
so much.
Pretty big,
we'll have homework later. Yes.
There will be a test.
Titus, Hartley, thank you again for being awesome, buddies.
You bet.
anytime, man.
Hopefully, whoever you are, wherever you are, and whatever country you now find yourself in, the next week will be delightful. It will be delightsome, and there will be other good jokes like that one about Scotland. If there can be more dad jokes, no matter how crazy the world can get, everything's gonna be okay because Dad's still telling dad jokes. All right, everybody. That's deep. That's a deep justification I just rolled out for why dad jokes should be constant and common, no matter what we do in life.
Sharp like a marble. Yep.
Sharp like a. I'll see everybody next week.